Hey everybody, happy Thursday and welcome to another episode of Just Meesh. So, I have been going through it lately. As y'all know, I am unemployed right now, and as fate would have it, I did not receive my unemployment check this week, Lord Jesus. And I genuinely do not know what's going on, and I am in just this really hard place in life. I live in LA. I live in an apartment. I have roommates. I have bills. I'm just trying to really figure out what's going on in my life right now. As some of you may know, some of you may not, I have another podcast called The Black Retreat that I have had to put on hold as of right now because I am unemployed. Because that one just, takes a little more work, a little more effort and time and money that I really honestly just don't have right now, and everything is really up in the air. So I wasn't even gonna do an episode this week because honestly I've been a little disheartened, but the Lord really dropped it on my heart today, yesterday actually, about the beauty of not knowing. And I was like, trying to figure out everything that was going on with my check yesterday. And literally, it was just a moment that was like, sometimes it's okay to not know. Sometimes it's okay to be still and be patient. And so today, I want to discuss the beauty of the unknown. As fate would have it, yesterday I received an email from myself. So this time last year, I was starting the Black Retreat, as I stated in my other podcast, where I bring black creatives on and we discuss their journeys, they tell their stories. And so I was trying to set up an email for the Black Retreat last year. And once I did it, I was so excited. I was so excited to, just start getting everything ready, figuring things out. And so I scheduled an email to come to myself, which I completely forgot about. And so, much to my surprise, yesterday it popped up that there was an email from the Black Retreat, and I wanted to read the first part. So I said, "Hey, gorgeous, I can't believe you started this during tax season. LOL, you're nuts." You got a lot going on right now, but you're really girl bossing like a beast. I'm so effing proud of you. The fact that you're doing it, you really came a long way. Hopefully, we won't ever have to work another tax season again. That's the goal. It's stressful for absolutely no reason. And I said a whole bunch of other stuff that's kind of personal, so I won't share it. But I, it really tickled me that I had put it out into the atmosphere that I did not want to work another tax season. As I've stated before, I worked at a tax office, just extremely stressful during tax season. And just aside from that, I knew I've obviously I've known that I wanted to do more, I wanted to be more. I moved out here so that I could be a writer. I got my master's degree in screenwriting, and that's been the plan. But at some point, I decided to kind of pivot from writing because I I would like to be well off, and honestly, they just don't be paying writers enough. Like, as you can see, the freaking strike that just happened this year, and so it's not. It hasn't always been the forefront of my mission in California. I really would love to produce. I would love to. I want to be able to help other people tell their stories. I would love to be able to be the person that can put the money down for up and coming creatives to be able to do their thing. That's always been like my biggest goal, my biggest mission. And I have known, since I started that job that, I wasn't going to be there forever. And so the fact that I was just kind of speaking that into existence, but the crazy thing is that you could have never convinced me that if I wasn't going to be working there, that I wasn't going to have another job, that I wasn't going to not have another source of income that wasn't from EDD. Like, like having to depend on unemployment to live is so annoying. Like, it's so heavy for me. And really, like yesterday with them, because they typically send, the money on Monday, and when they didn't, it just really was like a gut check for me. Like, I am depending on this one source of income from this very unreliable place, and coming from another very unreliable source. It just feels like I've really been coming to terms with the fact that I have been in survival mode for a very long time, and just living in this state of never knowing what's next, never knowing what's happening, never knowing, you know, how I'm going to get paid, when I'm going to get paid, what I'm going to have to do to pay rent, or, whatever. It's such a headache. But also, I just was like, wherever there is bad, there is good. And God has really placed on my heart to read the book of Job. And if anybody knows the book of Job, Job was an upright man, an upstanding man of God, who just literally the devil picked on him. It was like, I need something to do. And God was like, oh, well, hey, you can test my servant Job because you ain't going to be able to get to him. And basically, Satan was like, bet. So in the book of Job, it just tells his story of how no matter what happened to him, and I'm summarizing greatly, whatever happened to him, he was like, God is faithful. God is going to do it for me. God has always been it for me, and he always will be. And so today I started reading Job again, because and you know what, I've talked about it before, but sometimes I'll be waiting too long to do what God tells me to do, and he's been telling me to read the book of Job. But I started again this morning, and Job chapter 1 verse 21, it was after the devil started messing with him, and he said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In 22, in all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Sometimes when we were going through things, it's so easy to be like, God, why are you letting me go through this? Why are you letting this happen? And really, it's just life, because it was never promised to us that life was going to be easy. Nobody was, when you came out your mama's womb, you didn't put your little baby print on something that was like, here you go, here's an amazing life for you, and everything, all is going to be well. And I think that sometimes, me specifically, I get spoiled to God's blessings. I get spoiled to the fact that, great things do happen a lot of the times. And when things aren't going so well, it's so easy to be like, I just can't do this. Like, I just can't handle this. But the truth of the matter is, God does not give you more than you can bear. Literally, my little cousin just texted me that, and I was like, wow. Like, and just basically everything is a culmination of why, I really wanted to talk about the beauty of the unknown, because there are so many. I feel like when you are in these positions, it really allows for the divine to happen. It really allows for God to intercede, and for, people to really come out the woodwork and bless you. Like, yesterday, my roommate doesn't even know this, but yesterday I was sitting in my room, because I'm the type of person, I eat out a lot. So, like, I have food at home, but not enough. And I genuinely was like, okay, when I get this check this week, I'm going to get some groceries, just, because I'm in the house now. So I'm like, I really got to, get my money together, do all these things. So yesterday I was sitting in my bed, and I was like, I wonder what I'm going to eat for dinner. I was like, dang, I guess I'm going to have to, like, try to find something to cook. I'm going to have to round up some food. And my roommate literally stood outside my door, and she was like, are you home? And I was like, yeah, I'm here. Like, what's up? And she was like, I went and got something to eat, but it's, like, way too much food, and I cannot finish it, so you can have it. And it seemed like something so small, but, like, it was so big. Like, it's such a big deal that God loves you so much that he will place that on other people's hearts to do things for you when you are in your own head, when you're trapped in your own mess. And it's a beauty to be loved by God, and to be loved by people, and to really just accept even accepting help when you are down, because it can be such a struggle, especially for me. I'm such a person that's like, when everybody else is going through, like, I want to be there for everybody. I want to bless other people. I want to be there for other people. But like, literally, when you see, I guess, like a return on your, like, literally, like, you reap what you sow. And I know that people say that a lot in a negative connotation, but like, also in a, it's good too. Like, if you are sowing seeds and relationships in people's lives, and you are honoring people and you are loving people, why wouldn't they do it for you? And it's really coming to terms with things like that is really just a really monumental moment for me, and just really a blessing that, like, you really don't think about, because when you're not going through nothing, life is good, like, everything is good. You're not settling on the fact that, like, I can take care of myself, like, I can do this. But when you have to surrender to life, and you have to surrender to the things that are going on, it really just makes you, like, when you when your back is against the wall and you literally just have to let go. And it's like, people will show up for you. God will show up for you, and you have to let them. And I looked up the word surrender, because, again, that was on my heart as well, because I was like, I really just, I want to be in control of this situation. I want to know why my check is not coming. I want to know why I keep getting rejected from jobs. I want to know why things are not falling together perfectly. I want to know, why things aren't happening for me. And, just a still small voice was like, you have to surrender. And so I looked up the definition of surrender. It is to cease resistance to an enemy or opponent and submit to their authority. There comes a time when you really have to let go of what you thought you knew, what you thought you needed, what you thought you would have. It makes me think about that episode of Insecure when Molly was in therapy, and she kept saying, like, I should be this, I should be that. And the therapist was like, you use this word a lot. Like, I should have been here. I should have had this. And why? Like, what benefit is that to always be living in a shoulda, coulda, woulda? Like, it's great that you have these goals and these hopes, but when it doesn't happen, then what? Are you going to be able to pivot? Are you going to be okay with not knowing what's coming next? Because Denzel Washington, he was accepting a speech one time, and the quote has resonated with me for so long. He said, "Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship." That is so, first of all, it's so Denzel Washington of him to say. But it's so true, because when things are easy, when things are simple, what lesson is there? What can you pass somebody else that, like, I cannot, me personally, I cannot stand somebody who ain't never been through nothing. It's like so pointless to vent to them. It's so, it just be like, wow, like, you really just don't know. Like, how come you don't have hardships? And I've only met in my lifetime a few people like that, and it really just be like, oh, okay, well, like, that's great. But sometimes it gives them a really distorted sense of reality, because the majority of the population are going through stuff, really hard stuff. And so I think that it is, even sometimes lessons aren't for you. Like, I imagine that when I get through this, it will be a testament. Like, there is no testimony without a test. There is no testimony without a test. There is nothing that you are going through that is pointless. And I want to tell you that right now. I know that, especially as we get older, sometimes it feels so much like, this feels like a pointless test. This feels like a pointless journey. But even if the point of it is to just warn the next person, hey, don't do this because I did this and it didn't make any sense. Even down to small things. Even the unemployment stuff, like, and I had to keep bringing it up, but like, that's literally what I'm going through right now. And my best friend, who I spoke about before, she had already gone through it, so she was able to walk me through how to do it. There's so many people who are genuinely just like information keepers for my life, like my parents and my sisters, my siblings, my brother, my best friends, to be like, hey, like, I did this already. So I don't want you to do the same dumb thing that I did, or have to, go through so much, because I feel like we go through so much by ourselves as it is. There is, and my best friend, bless Bree, had to remind me this morning, like, you have a village, you have a community of people, you have, you have a storehouse of people that are just waiting to do nice things for you because they love you, and you don't have to feel guilty about that. And I think that I'm trying to do this without getting emotional. I'm such a cancer. But I think that when it comes to having to turn it around and having to flip it and having to be like, okay, well, I can't be the giver right now, and really have to receive and really have to be in a place of sacrifice, it really puts your mind in a different perspective. Like, what good am I right now? Like, if I'm not able to be the protector, be the provider for myself. And that's something that I have struggled with a long time now, because since I feel like I've been on such a survival journey that it's always like, how come I cannot provide for myself? How come I always need somebody to help me? How come I cannot get to this stable, environment in which I am okay with just living for myself, by myself, paying for myself, doing these things? Like, I feel like I always owe somebody. I feel like I'm always in a position where it's like I need someone else. And it's so frustrating to need other people, because a lot of times you cannot depend on everybody. And I think that is when excuse me, it's so important to have a village of people that you can trust, to have people that you can be like, look, I just really don't have this right now, and they don't make you feel bad about it. Absolute shout out to my village for supporting me right now, and for just being there for me when I cannot be there for myself. And it's okay to be in positions like that where you have to let go and you have to cease, being the one to always show up. Because right now it's like, well, I can't do everything. I felt a little bad. My friend has been inviting me to do things, and I'm like, I'm not in a position where I can do that right now. I can't. And it makes me feel a little bad, but it's like, hey, sometimes it's just you against the world. It's literally just you against the world, and you just got to take one step at a time. My life right now is literally one moment at a time. And if everything was easy, then would there be progress in my life? Would I be growing? Would I be able to withstand hardships? Would I be able to be a light to other people? If there was no darkness, then there would be no need for light. But just to keep pushing through, just to get through that, like, everything's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy, and it's not worth it if it's always easy. If there's never trials and temptations and lessons, like is life even worth the risk? And there's always a risk. And I think that not always being prepared for things also, it's just something that you have to learn. Like, every obstacle that you come against, you are not going to have the answer for. Everything that you are going through, you're not going to have the answer for. You're not going to know what's on the other side. And that is just a part of the journey. And the journey can be beautiful, or you can give up. And I'm not giving up. Like, I'm such in like a headspace right now that I'm just like, wow, it's just one thing after another. And that also, because with Job, even in just the first chapter of Job, literally in like verses, I want to say like verses 13 through 19, literally one after another, his servants come in and they're like, this happened. There's a fire from heaven that came down and killed all your animals. And this happened. And it's literally in life. Life feels like that. Job feels like such poetry because it is a testament to current life. Like, this stuff really be happening, and it feels like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And it'd be like, Lord, really? When is this gonna stop? And there's no timeline. Healing, hurt, they don't have no timeline. It's literally like you just got to keep pushing through in hopes that there is another side to the journey. There's always, and I have been through enough to know, let me tell you right now, that there is always another side. There is always a reason that you are hurting. There's always a reason. There's always a lesson. And I know it's really cliche, but there is a lesson in every blessing. Or, I'm sorry, other way around. There's a blessing in every lesson. So, you just got to keep pushing through it. And another point that I wanted to talk about is just the curse of comfort. If you always know what's next, life becomes very predictable. And as much as I do not want to be in the predicament that I am right now, I don't want a very predictable life. I want to sometimes be on the edge a little bit. I don't want to be broke, don't get me wrong, but but I don't always want to know what's next. I want spontaneity. I want, okay, let's live this thing out. Let's figure this thing out. Let's get through this, get through this thing, because if you always know what's coming next, like I said, like where there is no risk, there is no reward. And also, how do you grow if you never go through anything? Are you really getting better? I literally cannot stand somebody, like I said, who has never been through anything. Are you really growing? Are you really becoming, like, or are you stuck, in this childlike manner because you're not going through anything? And then I think that, also a curse of comfort is complacency. You become very, very okay with things just passing you by. It's like, okay, well, life can just do its thing and I'll just let life happen to me. I think that you should always be obviously the protagonist of your own life. And a lot of people are not the main character of their lives. They literally just let other people make decisions. They let life happen to them and not do life with life. And I think that just making your own decision, because, as a writer, as a storyteller, we learned that, the protagonists, they always have to make a choice. You always have to make a choice. You have to figure out what the next option for you is. You have to figure out, okay, am I going to move this story along, or I'm going to stay stagnant here? And it's not worth it to do that. You got to keep pushing through, because the more complacent that you are, the less you let life become what it's supposed to become, and the less you allow yourself to truly live and truly experience it. And that's my next point. New experiences may be wrapped in fear, but they breed character and confidence. If you are not going through anything and something happens, you do not have the confidence to get through that. One thing about me and my friends, we have humor on our side. A couple of my friends, we have very dark humor. And I feel like, that's a part of our character. It's like, well, we've been through enough to know that, one, we're going to get through it, and also that we can laugh about this. And then you have the confidence to step into the new journey. You have the confidence to know. Because one thing that has always shaken me is like having to keep pushing to get an answer. I hate when things are like, oh my gosh, like I have to keep calling this, like this freaking check. I'm like, I keep having to call them. They keep hanging up on me. I keep having to call it. And that, it literally makes me sick to my stomach sometimes. Like, not getting an answer, just, continuously being like, I am pushing for this answer. I'm pushing for this to work out. And it's just not happening. And it truly is like, what am I going to do? But one of my methods that I have done for some years now is to genuinely think about what it's going to look like on the other side. Like praying about and seeing me in a new moment. Like, I do want to talk about Victoria Monet. I absolutely love Victoria Monet. She deserves everything that she's getting. She won 3 Grammys, and she, before she won them, because she was nominated for 7, and before she won them, she talked about how she was manifesting the way in which she would hold the Grammys. And she was like, not like this, like with just one hand holding one up. And she was like this, with her arms together holding several. And to see her on the other side of this, now that she had her arms together holding her 3 Grammys, looking absolutely beautiful in the color brown that she created herself. Like, that is an absolute testament to believing in yourself. And like a lot of people will think that things happen overnight. And in her speech she said that this was a 15-year journey. She moved to LA years ago. I think she said 2013. I moved to LA in 2018, and I'm just like, I am still on this journey. I'm still buckled in. I have always been like, if I'm in LA for 10 years and it don't work out, then I'll probably rethink it. But I still got a few years to go until that becomes a thing, because I just, and I was talking to my friend Tiana about just how we're creatives, and just sometimes it feels like the world does not put um stock in creatives, because they genuinely feel like it's not as important as like math and things like that. But creatives make the world go round. Like, if you come from your being a scientist all day and you want to go home and you want to rest your brain and you want to watch a movie, there was a writer that did that. If you in the car on your way to your corporate job, you want to listen to some songs, a creative did that. And it's so important to note just the things that creatives go through, and just to not be celebrated. To not be celebrated. And the thing is that even with like award shows like the Grammys, a lot of people like to just kind of discount them for what they're worth. It's like, well, it doesn't mean that much. It's not blah blah blah. And then honestly, my next thought about that is that then why do we celebrate it so much? Why do we want one so bad? And it's just like being able to be celebrated amongst your peers, and even just being able to be celebrated for the thing that you have worked your ass off for. It's such a testament to who, like, people can say that they don't care, but I think that it takes a it takes a really strong person to not care about, awards and things like that. But because you do want somebody to be like, hey, we see you, you worked your butt off and you deserve this. But the thing about it is that not everybody is going to get a Grammy. Not everybody is going to get an Emmy. Not everybody is going to get an Oscar. Not everybody is going to be acknowledged. But that does not make you any less of who you are, because you still went through the struggle. And that is a part of the not knowing. You might be working to get a Grammy and you might never receive that, but you are just as important as the Victoria Monets of the world, as the Beyoncés of the world. And shout out to them for being who they are and standing in who they are, and not letting people sway them from being who they are. Because imagine if Victoria Monet had been working since she was it's since 2013 and she would have stopped. It was literally like me and Deontay were talking about the imagery of the coal miners, and there's the one that's on top and one that's on bottom, and they're both like chipping away. And then there's one that stops and turns away right before he gets to the diamond. And there's one that's still going, and it's right. Both of them are on the other side of it, but one of them stops, and one of them is still going. And it's like, how do you know? How do you know if you stop? How do you know that there is not something beautiful on the other side of the unknown? Because knowing everything will have you complacent. It will have you in a position where it's like, what, like, why would I have to work harder? Why would I have to, why do I have to be a testament to other people? Why do I have to, why? Just why? Why would I work harder if I'm getting everything that I always wanted, or if I'm just getting enough? And it's like, is enough enough? The beauty to keep going, the beauty to keep trying, the beauty to keep pushing, the beauty to keep working when you don't know what's coming, the beauty of not knowing means that you could possibly have everything. It truly feels like the unknown sometimes feels like a dangerous place to be, but it sincerely feels so open. Like, absolutely anything is possible. When you have nothing to hold on to, your arms are open to receive everything that's meant for you. And I hope you all know that. And this was kind of for me. It was, it's for anybody who listens. Shout out to all 2 of my subscribers. But truly, I just want you all to know that if your arms are always full, how are you gonna know what you could possibly receive? And I wanted to end this with this very beautiful poem that my best friend Carly sent to me years ago. It's called Empty Spaces. Because I think a lot of times we feel like we need to be fulfilled. We need to be full all the time. And life is not about that. Sometimes you need the empty spaces so that they can be filled. Sometimes God has to empty you out just so that you can know what it feels like to not have everything that you want and to experience the true beauty of not knowing. And it's by Ernest Hemingway. If there's empty spaces in your heart, they'll make you think it's wrong. Like having empty spaces means you can never be strong. But I've learned that all these spaces means there's room enough to grow. And the people that once filled them were always meant to go, to be let go. And all these empty spaces create a strange sort of pull that attracts so many people you wouldn't meet if they were full. So if you're made of empty spaces, don't ever think it's wrong because maybe they're just empty until the right person comes along. And I know that's about people, but in my interpretation, it's about anything. If there's empty spaces in your life, that means that you have room to fill them. You have room to grow. You have room to figure things out. And you have ideas and you have thoughts and you have the opportunity to be just way more than you ever thought that you could be. So just don't get so caught up in the fact that you may not know what's going on right now and just allow life to fill those spaces for you. And like I said, when you have nothing to hold on to, your arms are open to receive everything that's meant for you. I hope this blesses you today. It truly blessed me, and I'm so thankful that I still have this platform to be able to share with you all. And I'll just keep y'all along on this journey, and I will be so excited when we get to the other side. And I know that right now I'm going through the test, but I cannot wait for y'all to hear my testimony. So, once again, happy Thursday, and I love you all.